Today they call it quantum manifestation. Courses, gurus, books, videos claim that you have to repeat perfect sentences, control every thought, work hard to force the universe to give you what you want. But here's the shocking revelation. The wisdom teacher Thoth had already revealed over 5,000 years ago that none of this works. The universe does not respond to your efforts. It responds to your frequency. And as you try to force reality with desperation, you vibrate lack, not power. You broadcast to the quantum field the message you do not have, and it returns exactly that. This video is not just another list of empty advice. It is for those who are awakening to their divine power. Here you will discover how the ancient teachings of Thoth collapse realities not through force, but through vibrational coherence. When you understand this, you will not simply manifest results. You will live as one who has always been a creator. Stay with me until the end, for today you will not learn techniques. You will step beyond the veil. You will remember what your soul already knows. That true power lies not in what you wish to achieve, but in what you already are. And when you access this, nothing on the outside can stop you. If these first words have ignited something inside you, give me a like now. Not because I want numbers, but because that like is a secret code between us. You tell me that you too feel that there is more, that you are not here by chance, that the universe has brought us together right now because something in you is ready to remember. That thumbs up is our invisible handshake. Show it to me, and I will know that you are already on the other side of the veil. Let's begin. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. Now imagine that you are standing in front of an infinite ocean filled with waves of possibility. Each wave is a different version of your life, one where you live in abundance, another where you remain stuck in scarcity, one where you experience deep love, another where you continue to feel loneliness. This is the quantum fabric of reality, a field of infinite probabilities, all waiting to be transformed into matter, into fact, into experience. But nothing happens until one decisive factor intervenes: the observer. The ancient Egyptians already knew this, and the Master of Masters did more than just teach lofty philosophical concepts. He handed down practical keys, keys that modern science began to discover only thousands of years later when physicists like Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg entered the world of the infinitely small. They realized that, at the quantum level, particles are not fixed objects. They are waves. They do not exist as solid entities until they are observed. The mere act of observing a particle causes it to collapse from a probability wave to a definite position. This is the famous collapse of the wave function. What Thoth taught was no different. He said that reality is not built from the outside in, but from the inside out. The universe responds to who you are, not what you say you want. It is not enough to wish for something with your mind. It is not enough to repeat mantras or fill out a vision board. If your body vibrates fear, if your heart vibrates absence, if your energy is misaligned, you will constantly collapse realities that correspond to that frequency, even if your rational mind tries to direct you elsewhere. This is the first fatal mistake of modern manifestation, thinking that wanting something intensely is enough to make it happen. Listen, the quantum field does not operate on demand. It does not understand languages, words, or wish lists. It responds to vibration. Imagine you want to tune a radio station. You can't just shout into the radio, play jazz, play jazz, play jazz. You have to adjust the frequency until it exactly matches the channel that plays jazz. Only then does the sound appear. Likewise, in the universe, there is no point in insisting on a desire if your vibration is not aligned. You may want love, but if you vibrate fear of rejection, you will collapse scenarios of distance. You may want success, but if you vibrate insecurity, you will collapse repeated failures. Thoth already stated that consciousness is the true creator. He taught that we are observers and co-creators of reality, not mere victims of chance. And here is the most powerful lesson. You are not just a passive spectator in the face of the possibilities of the universe. You are the artist who models, the sculptor who gives form, the alchemist who transforms the wave into a vent. But for this to happen, it is not enough to want it with your head. You must vibrate with your whole being. Mind, heart, body, and energy must be aligned as a single coherent observer. Only then does reality bend. Only then does the field respond. Only then does possibility transform into concrete life. This understanding changes everything because it dismantles the childish idea that the universe is a wish-granting machine. It is not a genie in a lamp waiting to be rubbed. It is a mirror that reflects your frequency. Thoth warned his disciples, the power is not in manipulating the outside but in transforming the inside. The real secret is to become the frequency of what you desire, and there is no room for pretense here. The quantum field does not respond to superficial intentions. It reads the real vibrational state, the one behind the words, behind the thoughts, behind the appearances. This is why so many people get frustrated with modern manifestation practices. Mentally they say yes, but vibrationally they say no. Now that we are starting to touch on the root of how the universe works, we are ready to dive into something even deeper. How internal inconsistency creates noise, blocks manifestation, and generates an invisible cycle of self-sabotage that keeps you stuck in the same experiences. Let's delve even deeper into this subtle mechanism to reveal why most attempts to change your life fail, even when done with the best intentions. And here we are, pushing further into this invisible web that connects everything. You are already beginning to understand that the universe is not simply around you waiting for your commands, but responds directly, precisely and impersonally to the vibration you emit. It is a perfect mirror that does not distort, does not interpret, has no pity or favoritism. This is where many stumble, because they want to believe that the universe, the quantum field, God or gods, respond to verbal requests, emotional pleas, detailed wish lists. But Thoth taught over 5,000 years ago that this is a dangerous illusion. Thoth called this principle the law of reflection. Imagine standing before a calm lake. You smile at the lake and it smiles back at you. You frown and it frowns exactly the same way. You scream and it echoes your scream without changing a single note. The lake doesn't choose what to send back to you. It simply reflects back. Such is the quantum field. It doesn't listen to your words. It doesn't read your intentions. It senses, interprets, and responds only to who you are, what you vibrate deep inside, often beneath what you consciously perceive. And here is the fatal flaw in modern manifestation practices. They focus on what you consciously say or think, but ignore the actual state of your being. You can spend hours repeating, I am prosperous. But if every cell in your body vibrates with fear of lack of money, if your heart vibrates with insecurity, if your nervous system is tense with anxiety, what the quantum field perceives is exactly that state. And like a perfect mirror, it gives you back more scarcity, more insecurity, more tension. Not because it wants to punish you, but because that is its nature. It simply reflects what you put in front of it. This is where internal incoherence destroys the process of manifestation. You think one thing, feel another, do a third. You say, I want love, but you feel distrustful. You act closed off, sabotaging relationships. You think, I want health, but you vibrate with constant worry. You act with neglect of your body. The field will not take your mental intention and magically transform it into reality, ignoring everything else. It responds to the whole, the totality of who you are. And when that totality is incoherent, the vibration it reads is chaotic, confused, fragmented. This creates noise, and in the noise nothing solid forms. Thoth knew that true manifestation begins with alignment, not with blind striving, not with desperate desire, not with mechanical repetition, but with the internal state in which mind, heart, body, and action vibrate in unison. He taught the initiates that the universe makes no mistakes. The quantum field makes no mistakes. It cannot because it does not decide. It simply responds. When manifestation fails, it is not because the field is not working. It is because the frequency emitted is incoherent. And as long as there is incoherence, there will be confusion in the reflection. There will be disorder in the result. There will be cycles that repeat themselves endlessly. The hidden secret is to be, not to have. And now, proceeding from the exact point where we stopped, we arrive at the most delicate and powerful core of this mystery. The hidden secret that Thoth reserved only for those who were ready, for the initiates who had crossed the veils of superficiality. Because after all, what differentiates the true magician from the one who simply desires? What separates the spiritual alchemist from the one who repeats empty formulas? It is simple, but shocking. It is not about having, but about being. Look, as you chase what you want, as you vibrate the burning desire for what you do not yet possess, you automatically confirm to the field that you are not of it. I want is a vibration of absence, of distance, of something that is out there. And the field does not deliver what is separate, it delivers what has already collapsed into your vibrational identity. It is like trying to see yourself smile in the mirror while your face is frowning. It does not matter how much you think about the smile. If you do not express it, the reflection does not change. Thoth clearly said that true manifestation occurs when you embody the state of I already am. You do not think, one day I will prosper. You live, breathe, feel, and walk as someone who already vibrates prosperity. Now you do not say, one day I will be loved. You vibrate love for yourself. You open space in your heart. You move with the energy of someone who is already in tune with love. The invisible adjustment that opens the portal of transformation is not in the effort to conquer something externally, but in the internal movement of aligning yourself with it in the present. This is the secret that almost no one notices, because we are culturally conditioned to operate from the logic of lack. From an early age, we are taught to chase. You have to study to get a job. You have to work to get a promotion. You have to prove yourself worthy to be loved. This conditioning creates a vibrational trap in which the chase becomes the cycle that distances you. The more you run, the more the goal moves away, because you continue to vibrate the energy of a future that never arrives. It's like running on a treadmill. You put in the effort, you get tired, you feel the sweat pouring down your face. But when you look around, you're in exactly the same place. The initiates in the temples of Thoth learned the art of vibrational presence. They trained not to acquire external objects, but to change the internal state. They knew that when you become the reflection, the universe automatically adjusts. When you live the frequency, reality has no choice. It has to mold to your state. This is not magic, it is resonance. The field is not fooled by words. It responds to who you are in essence, to what you vibrate in silence when no one is watching, when there is no performance. Here is the invisible adjustment that few make. Many remain stuck in the mental phase, in the techniques, in the wish lists. Few understand that the real leap is to abandon the mentality of I need to have and dive into the state of I already am. And beware, this does not mean pretending. It does not mean deceiving yourself. It does not mean acting as if everything is perfect while you carry unresolved internal wounds. It means deeply embodying the aligned vibration, working in the inner field until body, heart, and mind become one. And let's continue to dig even deeper. Now let's go through the surface of what you think you know about yourself, to touch what really shapes your reality, the silent power of the subconscious. Because it is not enough to just align your conscious thoughts, create vision boards, or repeat affirmations. If deep down your subconscious is programmed with old patterns that operate as an invisible and unshakable force, Thoth already knew, long before any modern experiment, true creative force comes not only from what you consciously think, but from what is recorded in the vast hidden archive of your psyche. This archive contains every memory, every trauma, every belief accumulated since the beginning of your existence. It does not argue with reason, it does not negotiate with logic. It simply vibrates, and it is this underlying vibration that the quantum field captures as the dominant truth of your identity. You can say 1,000 times a day that you want prosperity, But if deep down you carry internal stories of scarcity, of fear of loss, of unworthiness, this is what your field emits. You can desire true and deep love, but if the subconscious carries the pain of ancient abandonments, the belief that no one stays, the silent distrust that love hurts, it is that vibration that makes reality collapse around you. Thoth called this the silent observer, the one who guards the doors of manifestation without the rational mind noticing. And this is not just spiritual poetry or esoteric metaphor. Today, neuroscientists and researchers like Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza confirm what the ancient sages maintained. The subconscious governs about 95% of our actions, reactions, and decisions. This means that most of the time, you are not really in conscious control of your life. You operate on autopilot, repeating patterns that were set up long ago, often in childhood or even earlier, carried in the ancestral field of your lineage. This is where the real work begins, going down into these hidden layers and reprogramming what vibrates there. Because it is this deep space that speaks directly to the universe. The subconscious is like a transmitter that never turns off, never pauses, never goes on vacation. It is always on, sending out signals, and the universe, like the perfect mirror we spoke of, returns exactly what it picks up. Not what you shout on the surface, but what you whisper in the silence of your unresolved emotions. Imagine you are an antenna. On the surface, you adjust the dial to the channel you want to listen to. But inside, in the hidden circuitry, there is an automatic setting that keeps you tuned to another frequency. No matter how much you adjust on the outside, if the internal program doesn't change, you end up returning to the same pattern. That's why so many people feel like they are going around in circles, repeating experiences, facing the same challenges, even when they are doing everything they can to change. Thoth taught his disciples that the true initiate is not the one who knows complex rituals or memorizes magical phrases, but the one who has the courage to look within and make the great reconfiguration. Because only when you transform the vibrational core of the subconscious, the external waves begin to collapse into new realities. And this process is not about fighting what is hidden, but about bringing light and awareness into these forgotten parts, embracing them, reframing them, and allowing the blocked energy to reorganize. The heart as a field, the electromagnetic code. Many forget the heart, but Thoth taught it thousands of years ago, long before modern science understood its greatness. While most people remain stuck in the mind, trying to solve everything through thought, the real power field vibrates in the chest, silent, deep, constant. The heart is not just a muscle that pumps blood. It is the center of your electromagnetic field, generating a force that is not limited to the body. It emits vibrations that expand for meters around you, creating an energy field that interacts directly with the world, with others, and above all, with the vibrational universe. When you are in coherence, when mind and heart are aligned, this field becomes powerful, clear, pure. When they are misaligned, noise arises that blocks manifestation, confuses signals, and distances realization. Imagine that your heart is a radio station. It does not transmit words, it transmits emotions. And emotions are pure vibrational language. You can say, "I'm fine" 1,000 times, but if your heart vibrates with anguish, fear, resentment, this is what the field reads. It captures what is beneath the words, beneath the conscious intentions. This is why so many attempts at manifestation fail. The person tries to create something through thought, but the heart, often wounded, insecure, or closed, sends completely different signals. Thoth knew that the heart is like an energetic compass. It not only directs your emotions, but aligns your vital energy. When the heart is open, present, confident, it connects all the other parts of your being. The body relaxes, the mind calms, the breath deepens. This state creates a kind of internal coherence where every cell vibrates in harmony. And it is this harmony that makes you a clear channel for manifestation, because the field around you perceives this frequency as irresistible, magnetic, aligned. But when the heart is at war with the mind, everything stops. The mind says one thing, the heart feels another. The mind wants to advance, the heart slows down. The mind dreams, the heart doubts. And in this conflict, the field receives confused, distorted signals, which are reflected in reality as blocks, delays, contradictions. Not because the universe wants to make things difficult, but because it can only return what you emit clearly. This is where the deep wisdom of the Hermetic traditions comes in. The disciples of Thoth did not just learn concepts, they were trained to feel, to enter deep states of coherence, to open their chests, to breathe consciously, to allow the heart to lead the flow of energy. Because when the heart leads, the mind relaxes. When the heart leads, the body aligns. When the heart leads, the soul finds space to fully express itself. Manifestation is a path, not a technique. From the moment you begin to understand that it is not just about vibrating in an isolated moment, but about sustaining that state in your daily life, manifestation stops being seen as a separate technique and begins to be experienced as a path. This is what the ancient Egyptians already knew, and this is what Thoth offered to those who sought something beyond ready-made formulas. Manifesting is a living act, a constant practice, a choice that is renewed with every breath. It is not about reaching a perfect state where everything will always be aligned. No, perfection is not the path. True power is in consistency, in the way you get up in the morning and choose to tune your energy to the reality you want to create, in the way you talk to yourself in small failures, in the way you move through the world, not as someone waiting to receive, but as someone who already carries within you the reflection of what is coming. Manifestation is not something you do by sitting for 10 minutes with your eyes closed and then spending the rest of the day in chaos, fear, or complaint. Manifestation is a living practice that permeates every choice, every emotional response, every look you give others, every decision that seems insignificant but vibrates in the energy field you hold. When you walk in the world as someone who is already living their new reality, something profound is activated. You stop looking for external signals and begin to realize that you yourself are the signal. This is the moment when knowledge turns into real transformation, when you stop accumulating information, techniques, tricks, and start practicing. The practice is not in the show, it is in the subtlety, in the way you breathe when you feel threatened, in the way you take care of yourself when no one is looking, in the way you face the mirror and decide every day that the aligned version of you is not a promise for the future, but a commitment to the now. And it is precisely at this point, when many begin to practice, that the greatest hidden enemy emerges, the trap of control, the most uncomfortable paradox of manifestation. The more you try to control every detail, the more you sabotage the natural flow that the quantum field could offer you. This is where many stumble and give up. They accumulate information, make lists, visualize in minute detail, repeat powerful phrases, but inside they are trapped in a tight knot of anxiety. They want to make sure everything goes exactly as planned. They want absolute certainty of the outcome. They want to force the universe to follow a script written by the mind. And what happens? The field senses the tension. The field responds to the desperation. The field reflects the energy of doubt. Thoth knew that true power comes not from control, but from letting go. He taught that letting go is not surrender. Letting go is freeing up energetic space so the field can do its thing. When you hold on too tightly, you block. When you try to push life to happen, you create resistance. When you live in hypervigilance, monitoring every detail, you send signals that you don't trust yet, and you shut down the flow. The universe responds not with punishment, but with precision. It gives you back the tension you put out. Letting go is an act of active trust. It's like planting a seed, and instead of digging it up every day to see if it's sprouting, you take care of the soil. You water it with presence. You allow time to act. This is the real mystery that separates frustrated protesters from those who live in a state of flow. It's not about doing more or forcing more, but about releasing, breathing, allowing reality to respond to your internal state without needing to control it every second. Now we are ready to touch an even deeper and more transformative point, the final paradox. where true manifestation does not arise from desire or effort, but from the state of conscious emptiness, the space where everything can arise. We continue to this hidden center of creation, where the ancient masters accessed the direct source of vibrational power. When you finally begin to feel the flow of manifestation, the real test comes. It is not at the moment of initial creation that most people stumble. It is afterwards, when real life begins to sting, provoke, challenge. You think you have already changed. You think you have already embodied the new state. But then something happens. The late payment, the unexpected criticism, the shaky relationship, the old terror that resurfaces out of nowhere. Old patterns come rushing back, trying to drag you back into your previous vibrational state. And here is Thoth's profound lesson. He taught not just how to achieve a high state, but how to sustain it in the face of trials. Because true manifestation is not about gaining something for a brief moment, but about maintaining vibrational coherence until the outside world has no choice. It has to rewrite itself. This requires consistency, presence, steadfastness. Not because the universe wants to test you like a judge, but because the old reality has been fed the same vibrations for years, sometimes decades. Naturally, it seeks to reassert itself. Imagine you want to change the course of a giant ship. It is not enough to turn the rudder for a second. You have to maintain the new direction until the entire hull responds, until the waters around it reorganize themselves. And in this process, yes, there will be resistance. This is where many give up. They think that because an old pain has returned, they have failed. They think that because an obstacle has appeared, the energy was not working. But in truth, this is part of the realignment. Maintaining frequency means taking a deep breath when fear appears, not going back to old patterns, keeping your energy aligned even when external circumstances try to convince you otherwise. It is choosing every day, every minute, every second to vibrate in line with the reality you are building, not the one you are trying to leave. This is where internal alchemy becomes true transformation, where practice becomes identity, where the vibrational state is no longer something you are trying to achieve, it is something you live. And here we come to the most powerful revelation of all, the central core that Thoth passed on to his most advanced disciples. You are not trying to manipulate the quantum field. You are not here to control an external universe, to force separate energies to obey your will. For the ultimate truth is simple and overwhelming. You are the field, you are the wave, you are the observer and the observed. This means that any separation you thought existed between you and reality was only an illusion. When you come into deep alignment with your divine nature, with the consciousness that pulses beyond the mind, beyond the body, beyond the limits of ordinary identity, you realize that you are not just manifesting things, you are manifesting who you are. You are not just creating events, you are recognizing that you have always been the creator from the beginning. If you have come this far, it is because something within you is ready to awaken. Now it's your turn. If this journey has shaken your soul, don't let it fly away like a dream in the morning. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, but above all, write me in the comments just one word: rebirth, or the one that most pierced you. It won't be just any comment. It will be your energetic seal, the way you tell me, yes, I understand, I'm ready to vibrate higher. And know that I will read every single syllable of yours like an ancient promise, because this is not a channel, it is a digital temple where we meet kindred spirits. Thank you for being there with all of yourself. Until the next turning point of the soul, stay dazzling. May your every breath be a jolt of grace. See you soon.